Hey everyone, the Guardians of the Galaxy said farewell to each other and the fans that followed them for nearly a decade last year, and with the third film being a success, I believe the trilogy as a whole is the best trilogy in the comic book world. It felt like Marvel were taking a big risk turning the Guardians from book to screen, as they weren't as well known characters like Captain America or Iron Man were. Also, James Gunn wasn't a well known director at the time. He made small horror flicks like Sliver and Super, his own comic book film. The trailer Marvel put out though was great, so being a fan of what the MCU had done since Iron Man 1, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 in 2014. I had an absolute blast watching Volume 1. It was very funny, visually stunning, and had a solid set of characters that was developed so well. Taking a set of characters that are so different from each other and making them work as a team felt effortless. The film is really quotable and turned the likes of Chris Pratt and Dave Bautista into household names. Volume 1 felt like a breath of fresh air. Nearly a decade had passed since a Star Wars film, so seeing a space opera like this on the big screen again felt great. The action and dialogue in this film was really strong. Ronan the Accuser is regarded as a weak villain, however, I didn't feel like he dragged the film back at all. It looked cool, and I really liked how Lee Pace played it. I also really liked how Volume 1 built up side characters like Nebula and Yondu. Also, it's hard not to mention the soundtrack, made up of some great rock hits of the 70s and 80s and a couple of Motown favourites. It's become a really popular playlist for everyone to enjoy. Volume 1 is a 9 out of 10 for me. Fantastic introduction to these characters, a cool looking space flick with heart too. Despite coming out 3 years later, Volume 2 is set only a few months after the events of Volume 1, and this is more of a personal film. Star-Lord's dad Igor, played by Kurt Russell, comes into the frame. Volume 2 tries to flesh out its characters and its relationships more. We get some really important interactions with Peter and Rocket and Gamora and Nebula. At the same time, still taking the audience on a fun ride exploring the adventures of these misfits characters. Volume 2 took the already established characters and built them further, with more truths coming out about their backstories. This film also introduced us to Mantis, who became a beloved character. Volume 2 has the laughs whilst hitting with emotional stakes, with a Ravager funeral taking place at the end of the film. Volume 2 gets an 8 out of 10 for me. While it's not as funny as Volume 1, I really like the character depth, and once again has a great soundtrack and amazing visuals. Disney fired then rehired James Gunn, so it took until 2023 for Volume 3 to release. Expectations were high for the closing of this trilogy, and fans were interested to see if any of the Guardians would survive till the end. Volume 3 is by far the most emotional out of the three films. We've only had a few mentions of what happened in Rocket's past, and he takes the central role in the film. It's very hard-hitting and impactful. A lot of credit goes to the writing and visuals for Volume 3. We full well know these are CGI characters, but the scenes from Rocket's past are done so well. They're a really tough, tragic watch, even after a few rewatches. I loved how well written and voice acted they are. Take these segments out of the film though, it's still a blast to watch like the others. Drax and Mantis are as funny as ever. Their chemistry is fantastic, and Volume 3 features the best villain in the trilogy. The High Evolutioner is a complex character with no morals or remorse for his actions. He's played so well by Chukwudi Iwuji, and he only cares for his own ideologies. The story for Volume 3 really stands out, giving the viewer a rollercoaster of emotions. I'm giving Volume 3 a 9 out of 10. Very emotional moments throughout, and had a closing in this chapter of the MCU that satisfied a lot of viewers. Also had the same great action, visuals and soundtrack. The reason I feel that the Guardians of the Galaxy is the best trilogy is because the films are all consistent in quality, had heart as well as the humour, and didn't stray away from the focus of the characters. The Captain America trilogy was great, however Captain America was no longer the focus come the end. I love Civil War, however it didn't feel like a Captain America film, so the title should have just been Civil War, as he was just a part of the story. The Guardians remained the stars and the focus of their own films. James Gunn built them up from troubled individuals each with a tragic backstory, and brought them together as a family. Do you agree with my choice, or do you think the Captain America trilogy or any other comic book trilogy is better? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Take care.